What up, what up? Back once again. Today, we are going over the August balance changes. The biggest balance change, I don't know the time frame, but this is a lot of changes. Buffs, nerfs, reworks. So let's just jump into it here. Starting with the spirit nerfs. I guess you want to read all that, whatever. But the spirit nerfs. Fire Spirit, Ice Spirit, Hero Spirit, and Electro Spirit. Everybody knows all the spirits in the game. Their HP is nerfed 6%, which means, as it's showing right here, it'll no longer connect to Crown Towers. So if you have a level 15 Crown Tower, level 15 Spirit, that is not gonna connect anymore. That the tower is gonna kill it before it reaches. And it's one shot by archers, archer, queen, bomber, whatever, all that stuff, musketeer, Tesla. Archers, by the way, I am pretty sure it is not one archer. I don't think one archer will kill it. I'm pretty sure it's two. It's like one shot from each archer. So if one archer's dead, it'll still connect on that remaining archer. Regardless, decent change. I think spirits and cycle in general have sort of been just overwhelmingly better than beatdown and, you know, basically other archetypes of decks. Even spirits were in beatdown because it's just like, why wouldn't you? They have to answer it. Fire Spirit especially. They have to answer it. Like bats, ice spirit, and cycle decks, like that's just, you have to answer that. Or it's free. It's like a lot. It's like 500 damage or something. You know, now though, yeah, just nerfing that is nice. Now you're going to have to, if you're using spirits, you're going to have to sort of finagle your way around that a little bit more. So good change overall. Let me know, by the way, down in the comments what you think of these changes. Also, this is a whole ton of nothing here. You can read that again if you want. All heroes and champions, every single one, their abilities are no longer cyclable. So you have one ability per champion, per unit of a champion. You can still probably, place an archer queen, pop the invis, mirror the archer queen, and then invis on the mirrored one. But you're not going to be able to cycle. So this is good. I think generally these balance changes are good, by the way. But that is going to make it so you can't pop, Archer Queen, for example. I know I'm sort of saying a lot about Archer Queen, but you can use the ability, or you used to be able to use the ability on defense, right? And then by the time it's across the bridge, you will have it back. Which was kind of annoying because now, because, for obvious reasons, you play the game, so you know. But now it's more strategic where it's like, okay, you either are going to use it on defense, right? To survive, to, kite and then have it walk back to the tower. Or to use it on offense. So, and with every champion ability, that doesn't just go for Archer Queen. But generally speaking, that is I feel like the most common example. Golden Knight might not be great because Golden Knight's ability comes back really quick. But if it's, no cooldowns, again, that might sort of kill that. But let's move on here. There are a lot to go through. So, Goblinstein. The Doctor basically has plus 50, plus 47%, but almost a 50% damage increase, which, ever since that card released, it was broken, but my issue with it was its, lack of taking care of minions, goblins, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that one-shots goblins now. So, whatever. They did buff goblins, though, so we'll get to that in a moment. Ability, damage per second, DPS, was nerfed, so it's more like, which I'm actually surprised they did that, considering you can't cycle the abilities anymore and you only have one. They're nerfing the ability with the worldwide champion nerfs and hero nerfs, I guess. and the Goblinstein itself. But whatever. So that is going to be interesting. It's not going to be able to handle barbs as easily. Now, I think the thing they were thinking was, if they nerf that, but bring up the doctor damage, it'll be less of taking out an entire push with an ability, and more like you can damage the push, but the doctor still has to be alive long enough to finish everything off, right? It's not just one and done. The doctor, if the doctor gets spelled away, your push is still alive. While it's on 1 HP, it is still existing, is what I think they were going for. Little Prince. So the hit speed conservation. This is one of my favorite changes. So what that means, if that's a little bit confusing to you, 0 seconds to 0.3. How it used to be, not when the card first released, but how it used to be for the past long while, was it would obviously speed up as it hits things. Everybody knows that. But then it would reset. If it moved at all, if it walked anywhere or had to retarget onto something that was outside of its range, it would completely reset, and it would be slow tick. Now you have a 0.3 second like time frame for the Little Prince to keep its hit speed. So pretend it's killing a P.E.K.K.A, which I don't think would kill a P.E.K.K.A without it dying first or without skeletons to distract, but let's pretend it's killing a P.E.K.K.A, okay? Then, after it kills the P.E.K.K.A, obviously that has enough health to build it up to max stacks of, you know, fast firing, whatever you want to call it. Also, this window is kind of weird. Then, after that, pretend there's something behind it that it has to walk to, it has 0.3 seconds of the hit speed buff left. Not left, like, after that 0.3 it's gone, but it has 0.3 seconds to retarget, basically, without it losing its buff. That was a better way of explaining it. Really good change. It'll make it actually, like, useful, because to me, it is 3 elixir, it's cheap, but it was just sort of underwhelming. Also, the Guardian damage, I don't know why it's spelled like that. I didn't know it was spelled like that, but Guardian, oh, Guardian, dude, he's getting damage, plus 7% actually. That's not on the charge, that is on his actual hits, which, again, just a nice change there. Mighty Miner, pretty simple change, he just has more damage. 2-shot skeletons, that's sort of the main thing. Also, yeah, I just realized that this was right here, so sorry for just explaining that, like, one sentence in, like, a minute and a half, whatever. Bug fixes Ronin. This is, whether you consider it a bug, I guess it's a bug if they didn't intend it to be how the card works, but basically what this was it would melee in the same tick that it would counter and do, like, a ton of damage in like one instance, right? That's why it would one-shot mini. It might still one-shot mini P.E.K.K.A, but that's what that was, basically. It would hit, something would hit it, and if it was not, like, hitting something else and then getting hit here and doing the counter, if it was one-on-one, what would happen is it would hit the frame, I think the same frame. It was close enough that it would just annihilate whatever it's hitting, basically. Broken. I'm surprised Ronin's not getting a nerf, to be honest. This is kind of a nerf, but it's just a bug fix. You know what? Actually, it might. I actually don't know. Maybe it'll be in the nerf section. Who knows? Expo. See, again, I don't know how this is a bug fix. Well, let's actually read. When Expo is targeting something right at the edge of its range, it'll often waste a shot on a troop, even after taking it out. Okay. So, they're buffing it to fix this issue, basically. Which I would have thought you could do by, like, having something in the code where the Expo knows the arrow that's going to connect is going to kill, and it'll immediately retarget. Which it would basically just be pre-firing. But they buffed Expo. So now it has, you know, it has a faster hit, or slower hit speed, sorry. Plus 33% on the hit speed. So it's more of a rework than a bug fix, really, because they're nerfing something and buffing. They're buffing the damage, nerfing the hit speed. It's a trade-off, whatever. Projectile speed is also quicker, which is just, again, to help that, you know, not shoot an extra one. So, I don't know. That's a fine change. I don't really play Expo. I don't like playing against Expo, so we'll see if that's annoying or not. It might just be the exact same. It might feel the same to be playing against it, because it's the sort of trade-off, like it hits slower but does more damage, whatever. Anyway, reworks. Hero Ice Golem. Everybody and their mother is going to be happy about this. The third blast on its ability, which, by the way, is non-cyclable anymore. Not that, I mean, Ice Golem is tanky, but it's not that tanky. It really never got a second ability off. If you're letting it get a second ability off, the guy you're playing against probably put it in the back, pop the ability, and then and somehow you let it get to the tower and you popped another one. But regardless, one ability on all these heroes. So all heroes, again, keep that in mind. The third blast will no longer freeze, and it will just slow, which, thank God, because that was just an obnoxious ability. It was an annoying ability. That's all I really have to say. And then the damage was buffed per blast. I think that's just enough to kill skeletons. Take out goblins. So it will... the combined damage of all blasts will not take up goblins. See, that's fine. Right? A 2 elixir ability, I think it's 2 elixir, counters goblins. Like, that's fair. You know, you pop the ability. It is a hero. It's inherently meant to be better than base cards. You pop the 2 elixir ability, you kill a 2 elixir card. And you get a slow on everything else around it. That's fine. Nice nerf. They call it a rework. I think it's essentially still just a nerf. I think the freeze is better than the extra damage, but call it a rework, call it whatever you want. Good change. Which Evo now? Skeletons will now only heal her on the first wave, but they heal almost triple, I think. So, because it would heal, yeah, almost triple. So that is something. I will say, I think I like that change. I think that will actually end up being a nerf. In some scenarios, that is. Because some scenarios, you have the Evo Witch in the back of the push, right? And the skeletons are flooding forward, and you just don't have a spell or a card to kill it. Maybe it's beyond the bridge, right? Still on their half of the arena. Whatever, you cannot kill it. Because the card you have can maybe do some damage before they get eaten up by the rest of the whatever golem push they have, probably, right? And then by the time you have enough elixir for another troop, it's max health again, right? That's, of course, if you don't have a lightning or something. Now, it will heal. You can get it 1 HP. I don't know if this is exactly true. I bet you, though, you can get it 1 HP, somehow not hit the goblin or the skeletons, jeez. Like, you know what? Let's not pretend like, you know, everybody is not max or equal level with the opponents they're playing. Maybe your spell's underleveled and it gets 1 health, and then, you know, your tower shoots the skeletons and it heals to max. That would be annoying, but it's still an inherently annoying mid-ladder card. But what's going to happen now is it's more manageable. You can play, maybe, let's pretend a Valk, right? You could play a Valk, and that, after that first wave, that Valk will not, like, stall with the Evo Witch, right? And, like, keep hitting it, but also keep healing it because the skeletons, and it just sort of sits there for a while. That is no longer going to happen. Good change overall. Next one, Battle Healer. This got a whole laundry list of changes here. More damage. You know, this video is getting pretty long and we're not that close to done. Well, we're kind of, but not really. Damage, hit speed, HP, all up. But the heal radius is smaller and it no longer heals herself. Thank God. Because honestly, that was the main problem. The healer, I get it. The whole point of it is to heal things. Honestly, they didn't even have to nerf the heal range. I'll take it, but not necessary. The thing that was annoying was it healing itself, because then you could, and also, by the way, I don't know if it says it here, you cannot, the other healers can't heal other healers. So if you play a healer, if you play healer and mirror healer, they will not heal each other. The card Battle Healer cannot get more health than it has currently. It no longer has any healing on it, which is good. You know, basically consider it that way. It can no longer heal. Can't be healed by itself, can't be healed by another healer. I don't know if Heal Spirit works. I don't think Heal Spirit would work, right? I don't think that says anywhere. But yeah, look, persistent self-healing. It is just annoying, right? It gets on your tower with 1 HP. And then it ends up lasting for like forever. And I don't know if the damage and hit speed buffs are going to compensate with that, so it ends up doing the same or even more damage than it would have if it just healed itself on your tower. But, you know, I will take it. I think it's easier to deal with. Just, you know, able to just annihilate it, you know, with one card rather than, you know, needing to take a whole, you know, assault on it. Goblin Curse, pretty simple. Slows enemies inside of it now. You know, that'll make it easier. So, you know, you play it on a Skarmy, play it on a Goblin Gang. Half of the troops won't walk out of it anymore, right? It has more time to sit in the Goblin Curse and get ticked for damage. Inherently a buff to all of it, you know. With that slow, it's going to end up doing more damage to the troops inside of it, of course, unless it's stuck in there somehow. And create more goblins out of really mainly just Skarmy and bats, right? Those are the things that are fast enough and have enough health and goblins to escape the Goblin Curse. So that's going to get more value. Again, probably not a great card still, but it'll be better and more usable. Goblin Machine here. Another sort of interesting one. The rocket is going to be faster basically in every way. It'll hit quicker. It'll travel quicker. And he'll do more melee damage. And he'll have more health. So they're just buffing Goblin Machine, basically. And like I mean, what else could they have even buffed about him? I guess rocket damage and movement speed of the card are literally like the only two stats that they could have even buffed that they didn't. So Goblin Machine is going to be awesome. Well, not awesome. It's going to be good and probably AIDS to play, but whatever. Rune Giant, more health. This one, particularly, if you look, actually, after this video, go ahead and they might be pretty bad videos, but I have a ton of Rune Giant videos. Not a ton, like 5. But I used to love Rune Giant. It's just not a great card, but it might be now. More health. The enchantment is instant. This was one of my main problems, okay? You would play a card, and it would, you know, the Rune Giant would stop to do it, and it wouldn't do it immediately upon you playing the card. That, also it no longer enchants troops that just go die, such as Wall Breakers, or what is even another example? Kamikaze troops. Wall Breakers? I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, that's good though because sometimes it would enhance. I can't think of anything else besides Wall Breakers. I'm probably just blanking. I might even edit a picture of the card that is another Kamikaze troop right there. I literally forget. But basically the reason that is those troops literally can't hit 3 times. So the enchantment is just wasted on those troops that could physically never get the enchanted damage. Now that can't happen. Awesome. And like I said, I didn't really fully explain, but the enchantment is instant, so you can play anything and it will get enchanted instantly. I don't know if the range is still the same. It's not in the patch notes here, so I'm going to assume it's still the same. Okay, I know I've said this for quite a few things, but this might actually be the biggest change. And this video is getting pretty long, so I am going to cut this pretty quick here. But Void, from 3 Elixir to 5 Elixir. Huge change. Going to change basically how Void is played, what Void is played in terms of decks, archetypes of decks, and whatnot. So, the single target damage, and again, this is going to be a ton of buffs. It's up 2 Elixir. It's going to sound like it's getting crazy buffed, which it is, but it's going to cost a whole Suspicious Bush amount more. So, think, instead of playing a Suspicious Bush and a Void, or Goblins and a Void, whatever, it's just the Void. That's why they're buffing it so much. Double 1 target damage. Almost double 4 target damage, and double 5+ target damage. In fact, 1 target is a little bit more, and 4 target is a little bit less than double. again, do not be discouraged by that. That is expected, right? 1 target crown tower damage. Going to be doubled. Again, 4 target crown tower damage. Doubled damage on 5+ crown tower damage. Hey, you know, I don't know if it's going to end up being good. I think it will for 5 elixir, though. The thing is, wouldn't you just play a fireball? I think fireball does less single target. If fireball does more than that amount right there, just use fireball. I'll say that. Unless it's a very specific thing. Look at my chase shock. That's my searches, by the way. We keep it clean over here, clearly. But also the hit speed's up. Well, not the hit speed. It's not up, but the number's up, making it slower. It hits slower. It hits slower. So, what do I think of this? It'll be decent. I think Fireball's still better. I'm a Lightning enjoyer. I will still prefer Lightning for the 1 cost more. You know, again, Void, it's going to be good for taking out stuff like Sparky, Bowler, right? Maybe even P.E.K.K.A. Probably not, but it'll get P.E.K.K.A. weak enough. I don't see why you would even bother doing that. Just play another card. But stuff like that, right? Mini tanks, like a Knight, would not be worth it, but it would probably do around a Knight's health now. So, you know, do with that what you will. Maybe not even, actually. But anyway, Hero Mega Minion. Tower damage, even less. 75. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. This is worded really strange. So the tower damage, they're not saying the tower damage is nerfed 25%, but like off of the ability this is referring to, by the way. But the tower damage reduction is being buffed, which inherently means the tower damage is being nerfed. So that plus 25 is actually worse. So it does off the ability, it'll do 25% of its normal damage opposed to half that it used to do. It used to do half of its total damage on crown towers for a certain amount of time after you hit it, after you hit the ability. But now it'll just do, you know, 25%, 75% less, whatever. Also, it's permanent, so actually, just throw that out of the door. No longer is that time frame even a consideration. You know, it is not, once you hit the ability, it is doing 75% less damage to crown towers, no matter what. A little bit, maybe over-tuned, whatever. And then the damage that it gets from dashing, its warp, they call it, whatever. The thing where it flies to whatever troop and annihilates it is getting more damage. I think that card is being killed. I'm not going to lie. What exactly is it going to do? Yeah, it's good for assassinating, like a firecracker, right? Or maybe a musketeer. Stuff like that. The same stuff it was good for before. I don't think that extra 7% is going to be enough to compensate for those nerfs, which I'm not complaining about. I, in fact, like that. But I think that card is going to be significantly less viable. Mortar, Barbarians, and Goblins. Evo Mortar. Less, well, see, again, less hit speed, but that's a buff. And then Evo Mortar is going to... They're going to be the same hit speed, actually. I could have... So, Evo Mortar is hitting slower. Regular Mortar is hitting faster, but it's the same now. Evo Mortar is no longer going to hit like a whole second quicker, right? It's fine, quality of life, right? Just, it's easier to remember and deal with if you're not, you know, a good player that knows the ins and outs. I just realized my cat is visible in the frame. Don't know if she's been there the entire time, but if you don't know the ins and outs of every card, that's good to just remember, right? Okay, well, now you don't got to think, you know, how long do I have to catch this mortar, right? It's the same, okay? Barbs and Evo Barbs, more health. The Evo Barb health is being removed, the bonus health that it got, so I think it survives Fireball now. Both Barbs do, not only Evo Barbs, but the Evo Barbs will have less health than they did still, but whatever. And then the Rage duration is up 67%. So that's going to be fun, especially paired with Evo E-Barbs. So that's just going to be awesome. Just Goblin Curse Goblin, wait a minute. I'm actually gatekeeping. You will see a video if, you know what? Subscribe. This is a 25-minute. I'm surprised if anybody is still watching at this point. You know, please, thank you. Comment if you're still here. You will see a diabolical deck that I'm going to cook up with Evo E-Barbs whenever they release by me. So make sure you watch that video. That'll be in a couple days whenever the season releases. Goblins and Hero Goblins. Hero Goblins have spawned 2 Goblins now. But it's quicker to spawn, and Goblins and regular Goblins do more damage. Whatever. Nerfs. Okay. Barb Hut is high on their list. I don't know if that means a Hero Barb Hut is coming, or a rework or something. I don't know, but that just nobody cares about. But who is a Barb Hut lover, actually? Besides that one guy, like the one YouTuber. Anyway, all right, we got to go through these quick. This is a 25-minute video. Archer's Evo. The max range power shot, lower damage. Giant Evo Snowball, lower range in terms of how far it rolls stuff, which is a nerf, but also it won't activate King Power as easily when you're trying to scoop up a musketeer they put in the middle, right? Or a wizard or whatever. Goblin Barrel Evo. The clones have nerfed damage. Goblin Cage Evo. Another additional cycle. Higher DPS in the thing, like when it's, you know, in the Diddy Cage or whatever. Stuff is taking more damage. And the capture cooldown is quicker. So it's 2 cycles, but basically everything about it is buffed, besides the HP. So, Mega Knight Evolution, mid-ladder players, depending if you play it, or if you play against it, you're either really happy or really sad about this change. The uppercut is only every other attack. And the knockback on heavy troops, P.E.K.K.A.s, things like that, bowlers, right, is somehow more. So, I don't know why, but that's how it is now. I don't know. Anyway, Valk Evo, the tornado damage is down 50%. Again, it's because it's more of a functional, like, pull things in rather than you're hitting something and then every skeleton in range dies. It's kind of ridiculous. They're still going to die after 2 hits, but, like, I mean, seriously, what is the point of that? Or maybe even 3, depending on your card level. Bowler will be rolling stuff half a tile less. Executioner, same. They're actually the exact same range. No longer will unexpectedly clip crown towers from behind the bridge. Nice, right? That is just a good change that I feel like everybody wanted, except the people that play Bowler and Executioner. So, you know, thank you, Supercell. Goblin Drill. The spawn damage is removed, so drill players, which I am included in that, no more, you know, Goblin Drill death damage or spawn damage in Snowball to win the game, right? That's not going to happen anymore. Whatever. Wall Breakers. Damage down 20%. Decent chunk for not, you know, there were some bigger nerfs, but those were part of the rework or bug fix sections, right? Where it either wasn't even intended to be that way in the first place, or they're substituting it with another benefit to the card. Wall Breakers, straight heavy nerf to the nuts. Good change. Magic Archer. Down damage, right? Real delivery, down damage. Zappies will hit quicker. Well, no. Sorry, brain fart. Buff the hit speed. Well, not buff. Increase the hit speed. I am losing my mind. I gotta get this video done. But, nothing. I am just going insane. Okay, buff, Zero Tombstone. More damage for some reason. I don't know why. They really want this card to be like meta. For some reason, they're just buffing. They buffed this card the last patch, too. They just really want this. I don't know if you can hear that lawnmower outside. That's kind of obnoxious. I don't know why they want it to be meta. More health, more sight range, which actually is a nerf. Quite a significant amount. So now it's going to go for buildings farther away. Anyway, Minion Horde Evo. Hit speed is slower. Princess Evo. Slows every 3 attacks, and the slow duration is less. Spear Goblins, less hit speed, quicker hit speed. Suspicious Bush, more health. Furnace. Spawn speed is down, which is actually good. And that is it. Half an hour video. Like, comment, sub, share with your dad, mom, brother, sister, uncle, cousin, former roommate, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.